Greetings, y'all. Mësët to all the beloved across the realm. Can everyone hear me? Sound check. See if y'all can hear. Let me know. Let me know while everybody comes on in. All right, sounds good. So we got YouTube sounding good. Let's see if anybody on Facebook. Is anybody on Facebook on here? Let me see. I might touch on the Phoenix tonight. Okay, Facebook. Thank you, sister Tania or Tanya, if I pronounce it wrong. But greetings to you all. I know there's been a little hiatus of the teachings haven't been coming as frequent as I personally would like, and I know a lot of you personally would like, but that isn't up to I. I'm not, like, I can't stress it enough. I'm not one of these other YouTubers. Not knocking them, not putting them down. I'm not in any way superior. I'm just simply explaining to anyone who is new or semi-new. I only move when the Great Spirit moves. All right, what moves I. And if you come here and you notice I'm speaking a little different, even like using the word I, it's because not only I, but there's a collective here within this school who are trying to change our vernacular from the reverse lesser magic spell casting that we've been indoctrinated into, which we know as the angel-ish language, aka the English. It's angelish. That's what it is. That means it's almost like the angel language. What is the angel language? It's the light language. The angel is nothing more than an angle of light. So angelish is kind of like the light language. Okay? Because the real light language is not spoken. All right? So, but the twist in it, the reason it's ish, anything ish is not the real thing. It's semi. That means it's got truth in it, but it's in the core, but it's surrounded by lies. One truth, 10,000 lies. This is the angel-ish language with the words, all right? The words go back and forth, reflections, just like a sword. Put an S in front of the word, you have a sword. Put an S in front of a number, a digit, and you have money, which the moon controls the current of the sea or the currency, just as it also controls the money or moony. Okay, the currency. All right, that's why your bills are due monthly, every moon. All right, every 4 weeks there's a new moon. 13 new moons. That's 48 weeks. That they tell you that a year is 52 weeks, but we're missing 4 weeks. and they've done that on purpose because the rulers, controllers, still go by all lunar, because the lunar is the reflection, it's the mirror of, it's one of the mirrors of this, it's the closest one, but it's on the X-ray level. Okay, it's on the X-ray wave, and it's two. Just imagine the old films negatives. It's got two negatives laying on top of each other. One, you can see our crater or our bowl. You know how the book of Revelation in the Bible speaks of the seven bowls being poured out by the seven angels. Okay, the seven bowls are nothing more than energy signatures, nature signs from seven craters or seven bowls here on Tiamat, or the Great Mother. And even the Great Mother is not limited to the bigger earth that they have hid from you. Flat earthers are like, that's like, and I'm not knocking anybody. This is not belittling anyone. All right. I'm just simply explaining the truth to you. You've come, you're here, and there is no coincidences. Okay. So flat earth is like truth 101. It would be like going to college or high school, and you know, excuse me, you know, the first class is always like 101, algebra 101 or something like that. That's how flat earth is. That's why you get kind of to it's stifled. That's why they don't care about flat earth, they being the controllers. You know, that's just duality to them. Globe earth, flat earth, cool. That's the Cain Abel system, the Cainable system. You guys are spiritually just cause friction on each other, and we will eat off the today in this moment called loose energy. All right, we will eat off of that. Now, in the days past, by the ancestors, this energy was called ectoplasma, okay, or ectoplasm. And we're going to get into that. Now, I do have I got a bunch of miscellaneous notes that I've been writing because a lot has been going on in my personal life. I'm not going to I actually made a video earlier about everything because I really care about y'all. Like, I love y'all. You know what I mean? Like, seriously, like genuinely. So I made a video earlier I was going to post to just keep you guys updated. It's nothing bad or nothing like that. It's just, you know, it's a lot. It's a lot, but you know, to whom much is given, much is required. And you know, here I am, and here you are, and here we are. All right. So that's really all that matters. Not the matter, not all the material. It's you and I. All right. The you and I verse. A verse is when vibrations come together, different vibrations. You have a frequency, I have a frequency. It's the you and I verse, and we harmonically come together and unify to make a harmony. Okay. With a rhythm. Okay. The rhythm is the source code. That's the already written organic original source code. That's the rhythm. That's the drum. That's your heartbeat, you see? And then you are the harmonics or the melody. Together, when we come in and unite, we make the melody. That's the magical flute. All right? And all of this has to do with everything. This is the 144,000. This is your DNA. This is everything I'm talking about here. Okay. This is on a whole nother level. And this is why you are here. They have turned the you and I verse into the you verse I. The you verse I. You verse I. Not the universe. Okay. It's the you verse I. It's a race. What's your race? There's only one race. Well, with us, there's only one race. There's only one race here. And it's not even called a race. You're a being. Okay. Now, is there other beings here that aren't like us? Yes. You want to call them aliens? Well, I personally don't say aliens because there's a lie in alien. Okay. Alien just means anything foreign. A bacteria, salmonella is an alien. Okay. E. coli is an alien. It's anything that's foreign, that's not internal or organically original to you. Internal. That's an alien. So, and the same with the demons and angels and all this. You don't realize that all of this has been made by who you and I have been told to call man. We are the gods and goddesses. Truly. When I first started teaching this, when this first was unveiled to I, it was hard to teach. I'm not gonna, I'll tell you the truth. It was difficult because at that moment, a lot of people weren't ready to hear that blasphemy, this and that, and it's the same exact message as Emmanuel, or who people call Jesus, the Christ. It's the same message that the Christ has in that the book known as the Bible, even though now it's only a shadow of what it was at one moment. But even then, it wasn't meant to be worshiped. There is nothing here that's meant to be worshiped. Nothing. No thing. You are not meant, your mind is not meant to worship anything, because you have made all what they say in the Bible. All Christ has made all things by and through him and for him. They're talking about you, beloved. That Christ is the fragmented piece of the origin source. It's just the piece that is in this realm right now. And when you leave here, I go to make a place for the people that are the souls that are still remaining here. The tour of the purge. You go to prepare a place. All right, you're not meant to have to keep coming back and back and back. That it means you have not, one of two things. Really, it's just, one of two things. One, you're being deceived. And two, you just are going, you're making the free will decision to not purge your soul, and you're basically going against the current, the rivers of living water, the current, the flow of the waters in the womb. You're going against them, and Jacob and Esau, you're being like Jacob. You're fighting. You're pulling pulling the older brother's coming out the water. You're trying to pull him back and all this, grabbing his heel and try and pull, you're going against the natural order. That's what we know in this moment as Luciferianism. Okay. Satanism or Ahrimanism and Zoroastrianism is something that is not alive, that you're giving it's artificial life. That's Satanism. It's the beast. All right, the thing that is not alive, but we're making it alive in a material sense. Okay, Luciferianism is a spiritual sense where you're actually going against the current of the flow of the organic spirit, the greatest of spirits. So that's the difference. A lot of people think Lucifer and Satan are the same. For one, Lucifer was not even a word, a name, excuse me, until the 1600s. It was a phrase. Neither was Jesus. Jesus was not a name, a proper noun until the 1600s. Previous to that, in Latin, it was Isis, and before that, in Greek, it was He-so. Jesus Christ, it wasn't a name in the ancient Greek Septuagint. It was He-so, which riseth to. For those of you who don't know, we had 138 people in here. For all you Phoenix fanatics. All right, so let's get started here. So first, man, I forgot my little sweat rag. It's hot down here. All right. First things you got to realize is who is the rulers who's the controlling the world right now? Predominantly. The Vatican. All right, if you don't know. It's the Vatican. The Vatican is the head ruler, the center of control right now because of the age of Pisces. See, it's all about embracing the energy of the cosmos is what it is. That's who ends up controlling each age. And the reason we have heard the New World Order so frequently in our lifetimes is because we've been approaching the changing of the guard. So that's them letting everybody know, like everyone who is incarnated right now, hey, it's coming. The new world order, that the new order of the energies is coming. We got to prepare. We got to get our stuff together. They've been scrambling since the 70s. Even before that, it really started in the 1900s, that the churning of the 1900s. That's when it started, because that's when the yellow sun began to turn white. It's just started. And that means it was an influx in the wave. Okay. Yellow is like this. When it changes to white, it starts going like this. That means knowledge, everything is increased. The knowledge starts coming in. It starts coming in. And now the sun is full-blown white, and it's even coming in hints of blue now. That means it's even getting higher. The highest it will go is blue. Okay? This means even time itself will be sped up. I know people say time is man-made. No, the way we perceive time is man-made, but time is an actual frequency. Okay? And there are more than one signatures of frequencies that add to time. The main one being Saturn. Okay. This is why it's worshipped by the elites, because at the winter solstice, when the sun comes back up, they know they have more time. Okay. But that's going off of the last change, the last big changeover, because we're on it's a cosmic clock. All right. And there's people out here that are teaching doctrine that every 12,000 years is the changeover. It's not. It's just like military time. At zero hours, that's midnight. So it's 0 hours. It's 0:45 hours. That's 12:45 a.m. It's not 1:00 until 1 a.m. So right before 1 a.m. is when the changeover event happens. So that's to us, that means about 12,900 years. Okay. Around, I have the exact number, but I deal with so much. If you Google it, they're going to tell you 12,921 years, I believe. But it's it's different. And the same. This is why people that are basing their doctrine on time as if it's linear, as if it's a straight line. Time is not a straight line, and it doesn't stay the same. Time is a frequency, and it goes from it's a light. It's light. Time is all frequency here is sound, but it's light. It starts as sound, a vibration, and it goes into the light spectrum. Okay, and it goes from the red to the blue. That's the cycle. 12,900 years from the red to the blue. The red sun takes up about half of that. For about 6,000 years, there's a red sun because it's so long. Red is the longest wave. That's when men live 900 and some years. But let me tell you, it's not 900 years that to us right now. It's not the same as you living 900 years in this moment. That's why they would look the same as it's actually the same. To be real with you, it's actually the same. In reality, it's actually the same. It's just different cycles. It's different perspective, and it's a different wave. Okay, it's like a photograph. Okay, using an old camera, it might look different if and then you use a new iPhone camera or something, but it's the same picture. It's the same thing. That's the same thing as a man living 900 years. What would a man look like today if he lived 900 years? I've seen Tibetan monks that are 100 and something years old, and they look ghastly. They look like they shouldn't be here. Like they're holding on unnaturally into the body. They're going against the grain. They're going against the rivers of living water. They have learned the spiritual power, authority to the point they can keep themselves in their body and go against it to the point they're laying in a hospital bed, can't even move, just looking around with the eyes sunk into their head and everything, 120 years old. Because these are people that can astral project, that's literally can sit in dark caves for years without eating anything, and will live in the astral plane for a few years, then come back to their body and be frail, just a skeleton. People got to come help them out and everything. They got to gradually let them come back into the light, or they'll get blinded, all of that. I referenced a good book on that. That is 100% fact. Cave of the Ancients, and people posted it on the last video. I think it was uh, mystery of the matriarchies, part 4. But so, who's running everything right now? It's the Vatican, and they are more diabolical than you can fathom. All right. Every archangel, or every saint, if in Catholicism, or archangel, angel name you've ever heard, is nothing more than a local deity from antiquity that they carried over from to the next age and changed names, just tweaked it, because they kept the energy. They kept the energy and the manifestation God power of those who I was going to say the word believe, but these people, half of them believe, and that still goes towards the manifestation, right? Believing, beliving. It'll go towards it, but only on an emotional state. But then you have those who either trick themselves into knowing. That's called convincing. Okay. That's convincing yourself. That's tricking yourself to knowing something. Okay, even if it's not true. And then there's those that were tricked ignorantly and wholeheartedly knew this is God. This is God. I mean, there's people today. You can see them. There's people on the street corners. There's people in the churches. I mean, there was an experience a few days ago where a young child who has a condition started displaying the symptoms, some of the symptoms of this condition, and someone came over and placed hands on him and grabbed the child and started saying, "The blood, I cover you with the blood of Jesus. I cover you with the blood of Jesus. I cover you. Come out. Stop that. Stop that." And was yelling and putting hands on the child. "I cover you with the blood of Jesus." Did anything happen? No. Same thing as if anybody would have went over there and did anything. Same outcome. All right. Guess what? Guess why? 10 minutes later, that same person had their phone on and was playing Big Pimpin' with Jay-Z. And it was the dirty version around a bunch of children and had all the cusses on there and everything. And I'm sitting there looking. 20 minutes ago, you were just talking about covering a child with the blood of Jesus, and now you around nothing but children, and you blasting out your phone, Big Pimpin' spinning cheese, and I mean the dirty version. Every other word was a curse. Therefore, there's no authority in that person because they don't know anything. See, this is why people say, "Well, I know Jesus is real because I've casted out demons in the name." That's because at that moment, your God power was invested in that, and you knew that this is the truth, and you used it. It was you, beloved. You are the Christ, and the Christ said that. So if you want an explanation on how that happens, that is a testament to your manifestation power, your manifestation authority. The authority that is you, not in you, that is you. Okay. If you come from the eternal, original, organic source of light, of soul, life, light, and rest, what makes you what would make you think that you would be less than anything? What would make you think that you would need to worship anything? A dead man. A dead man that was no better than you. Matter of fact, he even said, y'all gonna do greater things than I. Y'all gonna do greater things than I. He said one will come greater than I. One is gonna come greater than I. Well, the preacher man at the corner will tell you, oh, that's when the Holy Spirit came. What? But the whole premise of the Genesis of the Elohim was the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. So because that's what the preacher man tell you Elohim is. Oh, that means it's plural because it's the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. It's the three. It's the three that are one. You say, Elon and all them, they be doing all that. It's the three that are one. The pyramid scheme with the all-seeing eye. Even the pyramid has four sides. In their 2D logos. Okay, because even people that come here always ask for Chief. Okay, but I had somebody come on here last teaching. We're errants. We're from archaics. We need to see proof. What? You need me to make a chart or something for you? You need me to write? I'll write. My book is on the way. I mean, if you need to lower yourself to the next lower dimension to prove something that we're speaking of higher things, you're moving in the wrong direction, my friend. And you need to be careful who you consider your master teachers and who you're learning from. You can learn from anybody. You can learn from a bum at the bus stop. But you need to be careful that your teacher does not become your idol. And I've noticed that on a lot of different pages on here on YouTube with people that are like teaching primarily by themselves, as I do. There's after they get to a certain level, we always talk about people selling out or selling their soul and this and that. Well, the new way is just monetizing and becoming an idol. And then, I got this, I got that, I got Chief Ironbush shirts, I got Chief Ironbush books, I got Chief Ironbush water, I got Chief Ironbush feathers, I got Chief Ironbush hats, I got Chief Ironbush necklaces. I need it all. Coming to a town near you. That how far will you go? See, the Great Spirit, even if this is not coming from a person who's not in alignment with the Great Spirit, they're only in alignment with the masculine energy, which is just intellect. It's just intel. Okay. Cointel. It's just intel. That's all it is. It's just how much intel, how much data can I get? Tree of knowledge, tree of knowledge, tree of knowledge. See, when you're in alignment with the Great Spirit, do I want to come on? Do I come on here and teach every day? Yes, because it's my passion. It's what I've been put here to do, so I yearn for it. not for my own to be noticed or for Mooney. What's Mooney? It's a 2D reflection that's been hijacked, because the moon is actually is 4D. The moon is a 4D reflection of you. Okay. And so is Sirius A. Sirius A is also the reflection of us right here in this. Why do you think all the ancient cultures, Dogon tribe and all that, talk about Sirius and all these people? You got a whole group of people saying they come from Sirius. The Anunnaki comes from Sirius. They're a group of and it's not my words. I'm just repeating what's prevalent at this moment. A group of black gods, 9 ether gods come from Sirius. Well, guess what? Sirius is right here. So they told the truth to these native people that don't know nothing about nothing except harmony here on Gaia. All right. Not Kai. Kai means dirt. And Kai is actually plural, just like Im. If you know Sumerian, if you know cuneiform, the word Kai is plural. All right. So it's like a handful of dirt granules. It's not just one piece of dirt. It's a handful of like sand falling out. That's Kai. So it's not planet Kai, as people are saying now. That's like a new fad too. Okay. And people say, well, Gaia is just a Greek word. No, it goes Gaia is even over here on Turtle Island. The tribe that is in my bloodline has a similar word that is pronounced basically the same. All right, Gaia. All right, so it's not just a Greek word. But so what these people said, oh, we're from Sirius A, and told the Dogon tribe that's the truth. The core of the truth wrapped in a bunch of hocus pocus lies. Like they flew here from another star system, Sirius A, and then they told them about Sirius B and Sirius C. What they're telling them about is outside of our bowl, another Sirius B is another crater right outside of our bowl. It's right on the other side. It's actually on right almost true north, directly on the other side of true north, a little bit to the west. It's just a tad bit northwest on the other side of true north of our bowl. Magnetic north is in the middle, that goes straight up in the middle. That's magnetic north. True north is like 12 o'clock if you put it on top of our crater, a clock. That's where true north is. Okay. And that's not where you think. They done flip-flopped everything. All right. What else was I going? Great Spirit is getting flowing. I gotta catch up sometime. Let me read some of the comments. That's one thing I want to work on, is reading comments and being a little more proactive with you guys. The four corners, yeah, the four corners. If you're speaking, Sister Barbara, if you're speaking about the four corners here on Turtle Island, that's the tribe that I come from. It's two tribes, Lenape, Hopewell. Okay, the Hopewells are called the Nephites in the Book of Mormon. Okay, but we came from originally the Lenape tribe. We just migrated to the Appalachian Mountains, and some migrated as far west as Ohio Valley. we built the Serpent Mount, and we had allies with two different highly intelligent other groups of people. One known as the Adena, the Adena tribe. They had semi-elongated skulls. Now, the elongated skulls is a sign of 369 Saturnic energy. But according to the ancestors, they didn't run afoul on us. And after they kind of came and went, we then ran into a group called the Anasazi, or the Anasaza, and we taught them. They helped us build a big city and the Serpent Mount, along with a group called known in the Book of Mormon as the Jaredites. And I never even read the Book of Mormon. I only know this from my culture. The Jaredites were watered down from who the Bible called the Nephilim. Okay, they were giants, but at this point they were about 9 to 12 feet tall. Okay, the Nephilim that they talk about in the Bible was 40, 50, 60 feet tall. You can't even fathom. And then there was beings here. Wait, you want to know how big Eve? Eve is still here. You want to know where Eve is? Where Eve rests? Eve rests they tell you where Eve rests. At Mount Eve Rest. It's the biggest mountain here in the realm. That is the being known as Eve. Mount Eve Rest. Mount Everest. All right, that is Eve. Okay, so if you want to know the difference in the wave patterns and what it looks like, that's a perfect example. That's why people are seeing big giant snakes down at the bottom of Chile and South America. They're seeing that big snake and stuff, and it's still alive. Still alive. You can see it's even starting to blow current out. Okay, current is starting to come out. You can see it. It's been seen, like I said, the truth. We're in a free will you and I verse, meaning the truth always has to be accessible. The trick is the controllers, have indoctrinated our pair that rents into everything. Like the couple generations that came before us, man, I love you. I love y'all, but I don't, y'all, they man, y'all took one for the team. Like, y'all went up there and did like a bunt and got hit, and you knew you was gonna get hit by the ball. Took one for the team, because I mean, they really indoctrinated us heavily in the last couple 100 years, to the point now people today, I mean, if you even say something about the Great Mother, people look at you like you're crazy, or like something bad is gonna happen to you, or something. It's just it's really sad. That's the only word I have for it. But yeah, the Eve Rest, Mount Everest, and there's other mountains that are titans and things that are daughters and sons of Gaia. All right, known as the Titans, and these Titans were known as half serpent, half man. All right, this is where you get the dragons from. Basically, they were dragons. Real now, if you got a bigger brain, and they said that they stood so high it looked like their head was scraping the stars. That's how big they were. Okay, so when you're that big, you got a brain that big. That means you're probably highly intelligent, and you probably picking up on cosmic. You can absorb cosmic waves more in more abundance. Okay, but as the wave gets smaller and we go from the red kachina to the blue kachina, the wave gets smaller, the beings get smaller. Okay, the land masses get smaller. That's why the ocean is here now so big. We're getting ready to go back where there's not going to be no big old ocean. It's only going to be pockets of what's called seas. Okay, not today they call the sea the ocean, anything, but a sea is just like a big lake, like the Great Lakes. All right, there's seas actually. It's just gonna be seas like that. All right, so the Roman Catholic Church is diabolical because they absorbed all the old ancient gods and goddesses and made them into saints and archangels and things. So basically, it's like a snowball. They were snowballs, and they kept them rolling. And each roll, if you've ever made a snowman, you know once you get that ball big, each flip makes it like a lot bigger. So from age to age to age, it's not just steadily increasing. It's increasing substantially. It's not just doubling. It's getting like, going from this to this to this, big. And that's where we're at now with the state known as the Vatican. Okay, who we know that the only land owned by the United States corporation is 15 square miles. They own no other land. Everyone asks me all the time, Chief, how are we gonna get the land? Where we gonna get the money from? They don't own any land. They have rights over the land, and they don't even have the real rights. The real rights are RITES. They have made it RIGHTS. So they don't even have the real rights. They have corporate legal fiction. That means dead rights. They're corpses. They're walking dead. They're zombies who are trying to claim that they own land. And they trying to claim that we sold land. For one, we didn't sell land. The only land that we ever sold was Manhattan Island. And that's because Manhattan meant Devil's Island to us. Because that's where people like the Anasazi, who they never showed it to our tribe, but later on when they went down to the Four Corners that I was speaking to Sister Barbara about, they taught the Pueblos the sun cycle, which is known as the Hopi prophecy, when it started with the Hope Wells, the tribe that is in my bloodline. Okay, I'm direct descendant. I'm the chief priest of the Hope Well tribe, Silpel Aques. All right, that's why you see the silver fox all the time. That is my name. That is my Hopewellian name. Silpel Aques. I am the lone priest of the tribe. And it's not even priest. That's just the English word. It's actually shaman. Okay. And shaman is not what you've been told, that you got to take some kind of drugs and doing this and doing that. It's a teacher of higher knowledge and wisdom. Okay. They have given you the most spookified version of every single thing that they could possibly give you access to. Shamans are people that carry around head shrinkers, voodoo, this and that, and they do this, do that, and they're in the astral plane, and they just get in some trance, and they're just going on like this, and then they go into no. Are there people like that? Yeah. Yes, there are. And it's no different than being a heroin addict or someone in China smoking opium all day. All right, so man, my bald head probably shining, sweating down here. I'm still teaching, baby. I'm still teaching, baby. Oh, don't come out here showing off with your music and stuff. You want to say hi? You always want to say hi. Come on, say hi. Come on. She's 4 now, y'all. She's not 3. So this is her first time being 4 on screen. I love you. I love you. Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. Let me see. I don't even like reading notes, to be honest with you. I just like flowing. But I told myself I was going to get into these notes. Yeah, so basically, the Roman Church took all the local saints in a very large number, are pagan deities, deities that had important local festivals, and they got taken over by the Romans, the Roman Church, festivals and all. They still hold these festivals. Easter, Ishtar, all right, all of it. Christmas, Saturnalia. All of this. I'm telling you, and then even Judaism is comes from Canaanites, Phoenicians, Chaldeans. They're not none of this. None of these religions are true. None of them. None. You got teachers on here that are following, have these huge followings, and they're like, they speak these big words, but it says right in their own book, beware of the man that speaks the big fancy words. Beware of the man that speaks big fancy extravagant words. And there's teachers on here that's all they do is talk real eloquently, and man, they must know what they're talking about. When the true mark of wisdom is someone who can make something that is complex simple. That is the mark of a wise man or wise woman. Someone who can take something complex and make it simple. Not someone who can take something complex and just keep it complex and just keep showing you complex and even make it, in most cases, more complex. They just add to it. It's like baking a cake and you just keep adding more and more stuff to it thinking it's going to make it better. Or ice cream, you just keep adding toppings thinking it's going to be better. If I put M&Ms, Oreos, Butterfingers, let me get sprinkles, pecans, turtle, Milky Ways, you think it's going to be better. mint chocolate chip, when really you just making a doggone nasty, mucky mess. And people are attracted to this now. People think this is the awakening. And they're correct, it is. Because awakening, awake, is actually when you're awake is when you're asleep. That's the angelish Langu age. The art of war, the tool of war. Gu is the god of war. Langu age is the tool of the god of war. All right. So basically, they took all these local deities and local festivals, and these were a source even back in the ancient days before there was even coins and things. This was a source of income to the particular tribes and stuff. We talking about in our case, it was wampum. My particular tribe, our currency was wampum. If you don't know what that is, it's like seashells and things that's found on the beach, because we were originally in Delaware on the coast, the east coast of Turtle Island. Originally, Delaware was known as Turtle Island because it was thought to be an island. Because Delaware is only connected by a 2-mile strand of land up by Philadelphia. At the bottom, there's a long bridge called the Bay Bridge that goes over the ocean that I can't stand going over. So Delaware technically is like how we say California is going to break off into the ocean. Delaware is already like an island. So these pagan deities festivals were a source of income for these tribes in what we call neighborhoods today. And if they would have got rid of them, it would have caused not only local hardship, but it would have brought resistance and rebellion to the new guy in town. You know, the long white robes and the wise men, and you know, they got a big group of these people that look, you know, pious. Okay, so so the wise thing they did, and simple thing, in dealing with what they consider ignorant folk, what the JEWs call goyim, the Catholic Church just called ignorant folk, just ignorance. What they did was rechristen the deity and canonize him or her. That's what they did. They Christianized the pagan deity and canonized the deity. That means fit it in somewhere into the biblical narrative. You see? Because the Bible ain't as old as you think it is. Not even the Old Testament. The Old Testament, do you know that the Hebrews didn't even have the book, the book of the Moses, the law, the book of the law? They didn't even have it until about 600 BC. When it was found by someone who was rebuilding, a mason who was rebuilding the Temple of Solomon. It was found. No, I think it was made, and it was given to the high priest of that time. Guess who they gave it to? They took it to a priestess. This is all in the Bible. They took it to a priestess because all of the origin, I'm talking about before Sumer, Anunnaki, Enki, and Enlil, it was all the great mother. It was all goddesses. It was all prophetesses. I'm sorry, prophetess. They took it to the prophetess. All the prophets in the high priest and everybody took the book of Moses, the book of the law of Moses that they found. No one knew nothing about it. The so-called Hebrew, which is a Greek word that did not exist until the Greeks made the word. So they weren't called Hebrews, and they weren't called Israelites either. All right. That was an amalgamation later from the Greeks as well. Isis, Ra, and El. It's a fact. Because Isis' name was not Isis. And Osiris' name was not Osiris. That's the Greek words for it. Osar and Oset. Okay? That was and Horus was not Horus. It was Heru. The same name, Heru, is the same name as Christ in the Greek. The Chi-ro, or the He-ro, or the He-ru, is the Chi-ru, or the Chi-ro, okay, in Greek. So the Christ literally means Heru, coming from what you know as Egypt, which Egypt actually means Europe. It's pronounced Europe in the ancient tongue. It was only known as Kemet for a small period of time. Before that, it was known as Tamara. Why are there any teachers not teaching you this? Why are there teachers online that have all this knowledge, but they haven't told you this? If they can't even tell you something simple as the real name of the place we call Egypt, how can you rely on, a lot of the other things they're telling you about that area of the world? Because this is where the problem comes in of reading books. Like I mentioned earlier, the young man who asked me, he said, "We're errants. We're from archaics. We need proof, Chief." And I explained to the man, in the most humble way that I know. When you're asking for proof, what you're really asking for is for me to prove it to you on a lower dimension, because I'm speaking to you right now in the third dimension. If it doesn't resonate with you, that means you lack something that you should have here. That's why you're even here right now, because you have to purge out things. And the reason it's not that you don't have it in you, you got something blocking it that needs to be purged out of the way so you can access it inward. Okay, that's the story of the chakras. But you got to be careful with that too. If you get involved with all that Metatron cube and all, that's a parasitic overlay. Anything with sharp lines is an automatic red flag. Triangles and all that stuff. If you see sharp lines and somebody's teaching you some kind of doctrine with triangles and all these things, sacred geometry with sharp lines, that's friction. That's spiritual friction. All right. That's meant to use you. It's using you. Okay. That's and people, another thing that while we're on it, let me address it. When I speak of the feminine, I've seen a couple people in here, and it seems like it's the younger fellas that are coming through that are kind of having a hard. It's kind of like a hard pill to swallow per se. I've heard, so basically you're saying that I'm here kind of worthless, a play toy. As a man, I'm just here for a woman and this. man and woman is not feminine and masculine energy. That's not the same thing. That's why your identification card does not say man or woman. It says male and female. Male and female are animals, when it should say feminine or masculine. It doesn't say that, okay? But you are an amalgamation of the two. And that's the whole process of the two becoming one. And that's why people, in the third dimension, the proof of that is the womb in the woman. She is the only being that has free will in this realm that can hold two souls at once. And the two they're two, yet they are one. What the mother eats, the baby eats. What the mother thinks, the baby gets that thought. The emotions the mother feels, the baby feels. The two are one, but yet they're still two. That's what this whole picture is. That's what we are. Give me 1 second. Let me close this. What's that?
Boba.
You made that?
Yeah, for you.
Thank you, baby. It's pretty.
Well, what in there or just this?
You can add what you want to add to it. All right, let me get it moving. Because it seemed like I got a ways to go if I'm going to get through this. All right, so monotheistic Judaism, on its Orthodox side, did the same thing as the Catholic Church and the Protestant Church as well. But people don't realize Judaism has an esoteric, well, all of it has an esoteric, that means hidden part, and an exoteric. The people up on the corner at the church that are coming here talking about covering the blood of Jesus and this and that, and then listen to Big Pimpin', spinning cheese and all that. They're the ones that's just learning the exoteric ink on the page, two-dimensional thing. And that's the same thing, not to knock anyone, that when you come and you ask for proof, Chief, I want some proof. You're asking for ink on a page, two-dimensional, lower. You want something lower than yourself with no authority, not even no life, dead letter. You want to ask a dead letter for proof? That means you're lacking something, my friend. Or you're lacking access to something. You need to rid yourself of something. And that's parasitic energy. Same way your physical body has parasites, your spiritual body has parasitic 369 energy trying to infiltrate it and get bombarded all day. It's the counter-rotating pyramid system. It's the Ka and the Ba to make the energy of the Eye of Ra, the Eye of Sauron, and all that. That's what it is. Okay, and then they hijack your pineal gland, and you think you're astral projecting and this and that, and you think you're getting downloads. No, the only thing you should be getting is uploads from yourself internally, the real you. You can call it your higher self, but really it's just your soul. It's not your oversoul. It's not nothing. This, that is the real you. That is what it is. So then you got the Judaism that's exoteric, and then you got the mystical Judaism. Same thing. You got mystical Christianity, mystical Catholicism, Baby, turn that down, please. You can't play that in here. And that's the esoteric Judaism is known as the Kabbalah, the Ka and the Ba La. Okay, the Ka, spirit, Ba, soul. Okay, all right. This goes with the Ba Ra Ka. That's why I got on people last How do I get this big? Whew, man. Goodness gracious. Thank you, son. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Great Spirit. Y'all are witnesses. Like, I've been told that this doesn't happen to anyone else, the frequency it happens over here. And, you know, people have said you need to carry that as a badge of honor and things. But, I mean, come on. It, not in a like cocky, boastful manner, but just in a common sense way. Let's take a step back and look. Someone is threatened by the unveiling in the way that this knowledge is being unveiled to you. Because nothing happened over here. Nobody hit nothing. No cords, no Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi's fine. Everything's fine. Blank. Whole computer. Bop. It's just, at this point, it's comical, but it's annoying. It's annoying. Other people I see just, I mean, they be doing 3-hour streams. Got fancy little things, you know, intros and outros and fancy videos and stuff. Doesn't get messed with one moment. Give me 1 second. Let me close this door. All right. Come on, Chief. Let's jump into it. Let's jump into this wealth of knowledge. Let's get it. Come on. Bring some life back in here. We dropped like over 100 people, I see. Man. Dropped over 100 people in about 5 minutes. I seen somebody say, hey, man, just go grab a cup of coffee. Just get yourself something to drink. Go use the bathroom. You know, I can understand if it's 10, 15, then it's like, okay, he might not get it working. But 5 minutes, come on. All right, so the mystical Judaism is the Kabbalah, right? That's what the whole Old Testament is based off of. If you don't know anything about the Kabbalah, you reading the Old Testament is like you reading poetry. Same thing with the New Testament. If you don't have these are called the key of the Kabbalah and the key of the Gnostic key. They show you the two keys. Okay. One is gold, one is silver. Okay. One is considered the old, one is the new. All right. Now, I was given this. Like, some people take this the wrong way. The apple with the key. Okay. Because I possess I possess the keys to all of them. Okay. Some would call it, you know, back in the day, they would say skeleton key. But I possess the key not only to the biblical text, the key to the Sumerian cylinder seals, the Akkadian seals, the codexes of Hammurabi, and the oral traditions of Turtle Island. So I was given this by an elder And it also serves as a magnifying tool to look into the heavens, the stars. I can look, as you can see, it allows me to look up at the stars and I can tell you what stars, which if I can't see it with the naked eye, I use this. Pretty cool. Anyway. All right, come on. I might have to narrow this down. Okay. So the different gods and goddesses of a polytheistic faith, that means they have different god, they have more than one. Or the angels and archangels of a monotheistic faith, meaning this one God, but they got all these angels and archangels, okay, are neither divine creations nor the arbitrary products of the imagination. What does this mean? Remember, the imagination is feminine energy. It's the right side, okay? It's not intellect. Okay, listen, some of you might get a little, because I got a little intricate in these notes. They are the creations of the created. I'm gonna say it again. All these archangels and names of gods and Baal and El Elyon and Anu and Enki and Enlil and Yahweh, Yahuwah, Jesus, Isis, Osiris, they're all created. They are all creations of the created. Fashioned in ash. Listen, this is deep right here. You getting ready. When I was going through these notes, as the spirit was flowing through my carnal mind was saying, man, I might need to do like a members only for this one, because this is a little deep here. I'm giving y'all some stuff that people give their whole lives away to get this. Okay, to join groups like Rosicrucians. What's the other one? I mean, we all know the Freemasons and all that, but there's another, the Knights of Malta, the Knights of I'm not gonna waste any more moment than I need to on them anyway. But all right. So where was I? Okay. They are creations of the created, fashioned in astral substance. Follow this the best you can. They are creations of the creative, fashioned in astral substance after a manner well understood by the esotericist. That means the real high priest, the people that really know the truth, as I'm giving to you. It seems like there's far more malevolent ones than benevolent ones, but we are out here. Okay, so they're fashioned in astral substance after a manner well understood by the esotericists and ensouled by cosmic forces. That's like a thesis statement. Okay, now I'm gonna get into the details of that. That'd be like a thesis statement. All right. A cosmic force without an astral form is not a god. And a god form unensouled by cosmic force is not a god either. When a cosmic force of a pure type, basically meaning it has a single specialized mode of activity, an angle. It got one angle. It's got one thing it's supposed to do. The sun got one thing. Saturn, Mars, Jupiter, all these things you've been told planets, they got certain signatures, nature signs that they are assigned to do. A cosmic force of a pure type with a single specialized mode of activity, uncontaminated by any type of energy to detract from its single pointedness, polarity, duality, Cain Abel. So it has to be focused like a laser. Okay. So when it has this single pointedness and it's embodied in an astral thought form, this is known as a Grigori or egregore or a watcher. This is the egregore. Grigori is the Latin word for watcher in your Bible, the watchers. It's an astral thought form that was made by man. That's why it says, even in the Bible, that you shall judge the angels. Okay? Thought forms that are manifested by the God power that is you. You are the God that is manifesting all of this. But the collective God power is stronger than the individual God power. That's why it says if we're in agreement, a threefold cord cannot be easily broken. Faith of a mustard seed can move a mountain. That's why the Bible story is so powerful, because it has indoctrinated so many people. Then you have the Quran. So this takes the collective, and now they have a theater that they are enacting a script out of chores that they have to do to enact the script, to keep the script going. Those that are controlling the script, they have chores they must do every day. As Donald Trump, Zelensky, Putin, this one, that one. They have chores to do to make sure the script keeps going. Oh, the Antichrist. Who's the Antichrist? The Antichrist is here. The mark of the beast. It was the mark of the beast is here. What's the mark of the beast? What's They got chores to do to keep the script going, to keep the masses of the minds ensnared, because they're using their God power to manifest what they want. They are acting on the causal realm, the causal plane, and they have the masses responding or reacting to on the effect plane. This is The Simpsons. How do the Simpsons know? The Simpsons, because they are on the causal realm. There was a book written 100 years ago. It had Baron Trump, and this and that. They're on the causal realm. They are manifest. They are literally have learned to program your free will, and they've done it in such a way where they've learned to sidestep universal law to where they're on that gray area. The police is behind them running their tags, but the police is following them for the last 3 miles and waiting for a blinker to go out. Something didn't come to a full complete stop, but they are sidestepping karmic retribution in the universal laws to do this. But like all those that go against the natural, organic, original current of the living waters, they're going to be overtaken by their own hands, feet, and head. Allah, arm, leg, arm, head. They will be taking over. Yahweh. Okay, the Tetragrammaton. Metatron. Enoch. Enki is our benefactor. Enki is Enoch, which is incorrect. The Sumerian tablets, if you know how to read cuneiform, Enki and Enoch are Enoch's name is Enkimi, not Enki. So they're not the same being. All right. So when it's embodied in an astral thought form or a Grigori or egregore, a watcher, it gives scope to its activities. This is called an artificial elemental. You may have heard of elementals. Okay. Now we're getting into the realm of alchemy. Okay. Hermetics. Okay. That they say go back to Atlantis and this and that. Everything that happens here happens because of us. From us. Not always because of us, but it happens from us. It comes from us. We have all the authority here. There's intruders that are here that should not be here. But since they broke the law, a universal law came here, they got what they desired. Now they're stuck here. And they don't have the full authority. All they have done is put a sleep spell on those that do have the authority. And there's a cycle where at the U-turns of the cycle is when beings have the biggest window. What's a window do? When the sun comes up, the window is right here. It's more than likely if you sleep on this couch and the sun comes and you're next to this window, it should make you arise and open your eye. If it doesn't happen then when the sun is next to this window and you're next to this window, chances are you're probably going to have to go through a whole nother cycle till you hit the other window and the next day, which is 12,900 years. That way, we're at the U-turn. That's not the golden age. Don't get it twisted. It's not the golden age. Okay. The golden age is still a little bit. This is the beginning of the rising. You think the golden, you think there's people online that have huge following, new age type people that are telling people dates. The golden age started on March 22nd, 2025. It's here, you guys. Ashe. First of all, there's no, I haven't seen anyone who really has a true concept of time. And those that do don't really have the ability to teach. So it's like those that do have the correct perception of time, they don't have the ability to articulate it, to make it simple. Okay, they have the knowledge, but they lack the wisdom in that particular arena of teaching. All right, but everyone is teaching right now that time is just straight line. As again, I don't want to keep going back to the young man. I'm not attacking him, just using it as an example. How I said, you know, we're errants. We need proof, and he's asking for like charts and stuff like that. There's no way that you can find a day, an exact day, going back to antiquity, and people always take, when I start saying this, there's always somebody that thinks I'm attacking Jason, or I'm not attacking Jason. I love him the same way I love y'all. Highly intelligent man. I think he's a genius. But I just have to tell you the truth. See, it's like look at Jason and I as if he was the left brain and I'm the right brain. All right. That's all it is. That's all I'm here to do. And you guys have the honor and the privilege of getting, but those that came from over from that platform have the honor and the privilege to put both of them together. You know, that's awesome. That is cool. Like, and that is from the Great Spirit. That is not from you searching on Google and all that. All right. So basically, this is called an artificial elemental. When the thought form is made by, listen to this, a group of minds or a race of minds. Sumerians, Anunnaki. When the thought form is made by a group mind of a race, the thought form is ensouled by one of the primary modes of cosmic energy. Then we have what is called, in most faiths, a god, and in some faiths, an archangel. That is how a god is created. Boom. It's literally a thought form that takes hold and gets to something called critical mass, where it reaches a point where it doesn't matter what happens. It flips the energy, and now it becomes an actual thing, a burning bush, a fire by a cloud by day and a fire by night. It's literally being manifested by a group of people. And they don't even know it, but the top people know it, because Moshe, Aaron, and Miriam, aka Kaya, Miriam, Aten, and Moses is Akhenaten, or Amenhotep the Fourth. Okay, when they're the ones that start the thought form, Aten. Didn't matter later on what the name was. It was the name that took with the people, with the masses, what counts. Just like with Jesus. Doesn't matter. You can break down, tell people that there's no original Greek Septuagint. I don't even think there's an original Latin Vulgate anymore. um, that the Bible's been changed over 60,000 times. It contradicts itself. You can point it out. You can show that it says, "Thou shalt not murder," but the next verse it says, "Go murder everything with breath in 60 cities, including men, women, and children, except the virgin girls." And the word used for virgin means ages 5 to 13. Take them as your wives. That means have sexual intercourse with them that night. People say, "Oh, they had to do it, Chief, because that was the serpent seed." That was the serpent seed. Why would they take the serpent seed and procreate with them? Think, McFly. Think. You've been duped. It's time to snap out of it and shake that dogma, the dog star Sirius, that is the reflection on one wavelength of you, and you allowing them to use you against you. Oh, that Anunnaki come from Sirius, and then the Nibiru is on every 36,000 years, and the Nibiru comes in our orbit, and da 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 da. Now, there is something that's called a red pulse that happens. A red pulse, and I'll get in. That's a whole nother teaching. Makes the waters red and this and that, and and wormwood and all that. It's all real things. Okay, but the phoenix is artificial. It's not a natural thing. It was made by the carpenters of Phoenicia. Carpenter, the original word for carpenter means wagon maker. All right. Wagon means two wheels. The maker of a vessel, a traveling vessel with two wheels. What else do we know has wheels inside of wheels? Ezekiel's wheels. So the Phoenicians are a carpenter of wheels, a traveling vessel with wheels that spin, two wheels that spin. Right? That's what the original word for carpenter is. The word is I don't like wasting too long of a moment if I can't, if it doesn't come right to me. And we'll get into that if I get through this. So a god, therefore, is an artificial elemental of a very powerful type, built up over long periods of time by successive generations whose minds were cast in the same mold. Basically, God's like Yahweh, Jesus now, Allah, Krishna, Vishnu, Brahma, all these gods with names, Diana, Zeus, all of them, Kronos, they get passed over from generation to generation. But you see, Zeus is Jupiter. Okay. Well, Enlil is Yahweh, is Zeus, is Jupiter. You see, it's all the same signature. It's the same thought form that was made that gets passed over to the next age with a different energy alignment, a new world order and new order of energy. But the cons and the trollers work together as one world. We must come together for the new world order, because it takes all of them, a collective. Not It only takes a small collective on the causal realm to get a large, massive following on the effect, not realm, the causal plane, because they're still in all the same realm. The causal plane, which is an overtone in this dimension, and it's still a large group on the causal plane, and that's the 1% controlling the 99%. All right, that are on the bottom of the pyramid, and which is the effect plane. All right, but they are the flip the pyramid over, and then you'll have the true power. Flip it. Same way they flipped everything, flip the pyramid over, and you'll see the true power structure, the foundation. What did they say Christ said to Peter? You are the Jupiter that rules Pisces, the Piscean age that Christ was when the time got started over to zero. The new world order, even time got changed to zero. The church shall be founded upon the rock of the Jupiter. The planet, the rock, Jupiter, that rules the energy of Pisces for approximately the next 2,162 years, according to that wavelength. They tell you every age is 2,160 years. Nah, every age is not the same length because of the wave. It feels like it. As I said before, a 900-year life is the same as this life. You will look the same. A 900-year-old man would look like dust walking down the street if it was here now. But when the moment comes with the red wave, the red sun, you can live 900 years and look how I look right now. That's what people don't fathom about timekeeping. When they're coming up with these dates and these chronological order charts and things. Unless you're studying frequency, hertz, waves, light spectrums, and sound, then you're not there yet. Okay, so it comes from generations of indoctrination, basically, to make these gods. And each generation, like I said, it's a snowball getting flipped. It gets bigger and more powerful, more powerful. But then it can start losing power too when people start to, when that eye becomes single. Right now, close to the window, the U-turn or the Saturn, the age of Aquarius, ruled by who? Well, it used to be Saturn, but guess who it is now? Uranus, the father of Saturn, who Saturn, what did Jacob supplanted? Jacob. See how it trickles down all the way down to the from the macro to the micro. Jacob supplanting Esau. Well, Saturn supplanting Uranus. But guess what? The original of the original is Gaia and Uranus. That is the original harmonic Earth. Why do you think Uranus is on its side? It's the only one that's on its side. That means it rolls different. It got a different energy signature than all the rest of these nature signs. Okay. That means it's coming horizontal energy, which is what? Balance. Set. Ma'at. The scales of the mother will be balanced when her husband, Uranus, returns as the what we call son, when really it's the father. Okay. That is the age of Aquarius, but Saturn is there also for the splitting of the timelines, as the teaching I did on Archaics. There's two different timelines. All right. You can choose. Those that choose will keep right on going into the age of Capricorn, and is ruled by, guess who? Saturn. That means you didn't take the U-turn. You followed Saturn, and you kept right on going, and you went down the other timeline, and you're still here in the 3D for another 12,963 years, I believe, of incarnations. Once an age. The tour of the purge. The purging of the Taurus. Your spirit. Purgatory. We're at the window right now. Open up the windows of heaven and pour out favor. They say blessing. That's blessing. The only thing needs to be less is your flesh or your ego. So if you're going to say pour out a blessing, make sure you know with your first eye that you're saying the blessing is to your ego. You don't want no blessing to your soul. You want to be mooring. To be moored is to be still with the great mother. They call that hell. See? They call that hell. Hell comes from being held in the womb and being held in the bosom of your mother, your great mother. That's why they take the masculine energy and snip, cut the umbilical cord, aka the greatest spirit of spirit, the connection to the great mother. Snip that off. Oh, can I hold the baby just for a second in my bosom? Oh, just for a second. Let me take the baby out of your held, being held out of hell. Let the dark Taurus field, the one that's stuck here, the docked tourist, the purgatorist, the one that is docked here, stuck here. Let me take the baby from you because the baby's in hell with you, you evil woman. You got tricked by the serpent. Da 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 da. It's all your fault. We're here. Do you see? Do you see? So, after generations, it forms such a potency that no evocator can hope to dominate it. That means no single person can dominate this entity in a way that he would an elemental of his own creating. Now, I don't condone this stuff of you creating elementals and all that. That's magic. Okay. You for one, there's no need for you to do that. And for two, you're not at a level where you should be even attempting to do that. Okay. It will turn bad for you. Do not, I can only recommend, I'll never tell you not or what you can and can't do. I recommend you do not do that. Don't mess around with none of that. That's magic. It's not black magic. It's not white magic. It's magic. Okay, it's a science that is so high it's not been seanced yet to the masses, so it's called magic. Now, if it's unveiled by the controllers, then it will be science or seance. All right, they've seanced it, and now they're seancing it to you from the creation they made with their God power mind. So the only way one person can affect one of these gods that is transferred over from generation to generation, he or she must yield him or herself to its influence and permit it to dominate him or her if it is to be evoked to visible manifestation. Drink my blood, eat my flesh. You got to become me. And to visible manifest until everyone's seeing it now. I see it. I see it. We're going to dive even deeper. The operator himself, I mean, the one that originally created this God, Moses, Amen, aka Amenhotep IV, aka Akhenaten. The operator himself is the channel of evocation. Oh, only Moses can go up that mountain. Nobody else, because he's the channel. He's the one that made the deity. Everyone else is manifesting. He's channeling y'all powers. See the trick. This is the Great Spirit is unveiling to you this moment how this whole thing works. This is some deep stuff, and you are getting the truth of the secret societies on a very high stage right now. I don't like using the word level. You get, this is a very high stage. So listen to this. It is in his imagination, the imagination, the wise man, the magi, the imagination that the image of both God and elementals builds itself up, meaning it needs the energy of the Great Mother to even do this. This is called Luciferianism, light bearers. They made their own Ra legions. That's what Ra legion means. A group of light bearers. Ra's radiation of light, visible or invisible. Legion is a group. For me, we are many. Ra legion. Wow. So, what was that? I was writing this down. It's all sloppy. Can't read half of it. So it's in the imagination that the image of both God and the elemental builds itself up, and it is the corresponding aspect of his own nature which provides the ensouling force. What does that mean? That means whatever Moses' nature was, that's what Yahweh became. It's a reflection of Moses. He was the operator. He was the one that originally made it Aten, but it became Yahweh mixed with Baal, mixed with Moloch, mixed with all of them, and mixed it all into a melting pot, wandering around, going everywhere, killing everybody, taking all their deities, mixing them in, and taking some people with them who are wanting to come with them to make their tribe of evil nomads, murderous, treacherous, rapists. Make it, hey, there's power in numbers, so you can come with us as long as you warship, you hop on our warship. And they would mix gods in, even Solomon, which wasn't originally soul of man, then turned into magic. Soul, O is the great mother, the O, the circle that encompasses all, which has no circumference, and the moon, the reflection. Isis seeing her own reflection, or Isis, Osiris. So basically, the God takes the aspect or the nature of the one that is providing the ensouling force. Ensouling does not mean they get a soul. That means they're soul-ish, but they still need external energy to be. That's 369 parasitic energy. For them, that's immortals. That's infinite, not eternals or eternity. They need and someone that's ensouled is an entity, an aggregate that started as a thought form that needs an external energy now from, and the more people, the stronger it is. And it eats. And I'm gonna show you how it eats. Guys, it's like 280 people in here. I'm not, I hate to sound like a typical YouTuber, but that whole computer algorithm is a real thing. If everyone could take a moment and hit the like thing, because it's only like 40 likes, and they already railroading me. You see what they did earlier. The video, the last teaching has like 7,000 views and like I don't know, 500 likes or something. And let's just be real. That's skewed. But you guys help me out a little, well, help us out, to push it out, to get it available to those who it should be available for. Okay. So the enemy can't, at least we can try to our best, even on their parasitic platform. So in the case of an artificial elemental, however, the whole of the force is derived subjectively, meaning an elemental is like wishy-washy. That's what they call jinn or demon, like how Solomon was controlling demons to make the temple and stuff. An elemental is not something, it's subjective. It can go either way. It could be, basically it means that the person, the operator has created is not strong enough mentally to control. It's not prepared enough for it. That's why I said don't mess with this stuff. I'm only explaining how they do it, what is going on, so you can have a better understanding, all right, and help you on your journey. I'm not teaching this. The Great Spirit wouldn't even allow me to teach this if I was condoning, like for you to do this kind of stuff. It's so you know what to look for and know what is happening, and you can explain it to your loved ones in your own way. But in the case of a god, it's objective, racial. Why? See the racial gods. Now it's 9 ether thing, and like Anunnaki is a race of black godlike deities that's coming back, and all the white people gonna die and all this and that. That's like a new age doctrine. Then you got like the Palladians, who are fair skinned, blonde hair, blue eyes. Some dude is running that Galactic Federation or something like that. These are all thought forms. And people, if you ever watch one of these videos, these people get into such detail about this stuff. It's really quite astonishing. Some of the stuff that the level of detail these people get into. You know why? Because they're tapping into their imagination. And the more people that catch on and start using their God power to manifest, it starts becoming a thing. Same as the religions of old. Same thing. So what this is called, it's called evocative magic. There's different kinds of magic. This right here is called evocative magic. All right. Or evocative magic. The form is built up on the astral and can only actually be seen by the clairvoyant. Okay. That meaning those that have their first eye open, all the way open. Though any sensitive person, meaning high discernment, right? You might not have all your seals open, but you're very highly sensitive spiritually. Any sensitive person can feel its influence. I'm talking about these deities that are made by man. Man means manifestation. That's what it means. Man is short for manifestation, which is God power. So, though any sensitive person can feel its influence, but it's only when there is a materializing medium as member of the circle. Remember, circle is the same word as what? Church. The original word for church is Circe or Cirque, and Circe was a god as well. Church comes from the Scottish word kirk or Circe, and even circus. You know, the 3-ring circus? Circus was actually the original word of church. Church just means circle. So there's only it is only when there's a materializing medium as a member of the circle or church that materialization takes place and the form evoked is visible to the physical eye. What did I just say? What does that mean? This is going to finally answer y'all questions of you'll see. So what is this materializing medium as a member of the church? What does that mean? A person? It gotta be a materializing medium? Hint, hint. Some of y'all should already have the word in your head. Sacrifice. So it's induced to build itself up by the use of certain substances that give off what I mentioned earlier, ectoplasm. Okay? And guess what that is? The number one substance here in this realm that has ectoplasm is what? the blood. Therefore, and secondarily is your excretion, or uh, your orgasmic fluid. Hence, Solomon having 700 concubines and 300 wives. You think this man was really having all that sex by himself? They were using them for their fluids because it has ectoplasm to manifest their gods. And in Solomon's case, he had temples set up to all the different gods across the land. But he's the wisest man ever in the world. He was used, that's called sex magic. That's why his temple is set up as a penis with two balls, literally two testicles entering a vagina. That is Solomon's temple. It's sex magic. That's why there were prostitutes in there and everything until 600 BC, when a Mason, my son, Samson, when a Mason found the law of Moses, and then they started following it. 600 BC. There was no Genesis, Pentateuch, Torah, or anything until 600 BC. Ain't that a trip? But they telling you the story of creation? They telling you that the world is 6,000 years old, and they telling you the lineage, the names, and everything, but they didn't start they were following the ways of Babylon. They learned everything from Babylon from a priest named Ezra, who was commissioned by Xerxes, the king of Persia. Ezra was a Persian, a Zoroastrian, who came and infiltrated in Babylon, acted like he was a Jacobite, Yahwist, and took all the scrolls and went over top and put the name of their ineffable God and spread this all around. And that is where the Yod Hey Vav Hey comes from. Ezra, who was a Persian Zoroastrian, by decree of, I believe it's Xerxes. Facts. They were worse. The people that call themselves Hebrew now, their whole religion comes from Babylon. The Talmud, the Kabbalah. And guess what? That means that if the JEWs, that's where they comes from, then what does that mean? That's where the Christians come from as well. It's a Babylonian religion, the Babel book. The Babel. The word Byblos was a city, and it was a Greek. What was it, in Crete? And it was Phoenician. It was under the Phoenician where the Phoenicians were. And the Phoenicians were actually the Nikes, right? They worshiped the goddess Nike, who in Rome was changed to Victoria. It means victory. Nike means victory, and it can be associated with any energy. That's why you always see every god going back from ancient Sumer all the way to the Romans and Greeks. They're holding a little thing in their hand, and it's Nike. It's the goddess Nike, and that's the Phoenicians actually was Phoenike, the Phoenikes. That was their original name. All right, and well, I'll get more into that. So, so basically, only the main two substances that give off ectoplasm that connects to the astral plane and makes things come here is blood and seminal fluid or orgasmic fluid, the crystals, the milk and honey. But the thing is, the ectoplasm has it basically has dissipated by the time the body heat has departed. So hence the burnt offering. The burnt offering keeps the ectoplasm hot longer, so these entities that were made that are now gods, that started out as individual thought forms of one or two or three people, that caught on to a group, a tribe, of first a house, a secret society, then a village, then a tribe, then 12 tribes, now a whole city, now 2 cities, now a whole region, now half the world, now the whole world in his hands, got the whole world in his hands. So that's the reason behind the burnt offering. For all those who've ever wondered why the blood and all that and the burnt offering, it's because the blood gives off something called ectoplasm that feeds the astral realm, entities in the astral realm, which are Gregories or watchers, and allows them to become visible and be here, seen here. Okay. And that is what you see with the wings and the Anunnaki and all that kind of stuff. These beings was made by people. Okay. I'm not saying the people just in Sumer. Am I saying that it wasn't people that migrated from somewhere else? Yes, it was. It was people that migrated from somewhere else. But this is the thing. Once a being has been brought here like that, it's here. As long as it's being fed. Just like some of these movies, these old Greek movies show you, the gods feed off the prayers of the man. See, there's an old saying in our tribe. God is made in the image of man, and man is made in the image of God. God is just a man that doesn't die, and man is a God that can die. That's all it is. That's the same thing as saying, as above, so below. What is loosed in heaven is loosed on earth. What you manifest here, what is it? Bring your kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. On earth as it is in heaven. As above, so below. What is loose in heaven is loose on earth. A God is made in man's image. Man is made in God's image. Man makes God. God makes man. A man is a God that comes down here that experiences death, and a God, a true God, not these Grigori watchers, these thought forms. I'm talking about us, eternal souls. Gods that come down here that experience life as a mortal. And the ones in the heavenly realm are men that are experiencing eternal. Men and women, which is actually not men and women. It's energy. It's feminine, masculine energy. That's it. I don't use the word secret. That's the mystery. That's the missed story. You've heard all these things, these sayings, these phrases, as above, so below. Everything I've just said, you've heard it all before. But now, the Great Spirit has unveiled it to you in a way that you haven't heard before. In a way that the light, now that it should be opening up for you a little bit more now. So that's why the burnt offerings, because when they would just sacrifice the bodies of animals And then people, when the body heat goes, the blood no longer has the power. So they figured, hey, when we put fire to it, it lasts longer and it brings these things into, we can see them, aka the bush that's in fire but not consumed. All right. Now, I'm going to give you a quote. The world is full of origin myths, and guess what? All of them are factually false. I'm going to repeat that. This world is full of origin myths, and all of them are factually false, along with every single religion are all factually false. All of them. Now, as I was saying earlier, here goes the notes about what I stated earlier. The book of the law described in 2 Kings was found by the priest Hilkiah in the year 621 BC during the repairing of Solomon's temple. And that was the nucleus of the book of Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy just means the second time. The second time that this Gregory was used on people. This is the second time. That means there was a switching of the age. It was used in the age of Taurus. Now we're going into the age of Aries, and they're using it against Deuteronomy. It's when they left Egypt, so they're using it for a second time. They used it in Egypt under a different name. Ra, Isis, Saturn, or Set, or Osiris. And I pretty much covered most of these notes. The books of Exodus, Leviticus, and Numbers, which we're told are derived by Moses. So during the years of wandering in the desert, that was the end product of a long development of what I just explained to you. That 40 years in the desert wasn't just wandering around because the people were, no, it was wandering around because Moses was getting them to manifest this deity before they went into Canaan so they could show these miracles and things like that. So my God is better than your God. When he actually got defeated by Shamash. Yahweh got defeated by Shamash, by Mesha, King Mesha, and made Elijah a false prophet. And by Yahweh's own law, a false prophet is supposed to be stabbed to death by his own parents. So Elijah, the one that is supposed to be John the Baptist and this and that and da, was a false prophet and was supposed to be murdered by his own parents according to the law of Yahweh, because he said that Israel would go and conquer every city, including Moab. And when they went to Moab, who worshiped Shamash, the king of Moab, Mesha, sacrificed his own son to Shamash when he was cornered. And guess what? The Israelites retreated. Yahweh was a liar, was made a liar that day, and so was Elijah, was made a false prophet. So I would like to hear, this, I'll admit, this is the ego speaking right now. I would love to hear a preacher right now rebuttal these things. I really would. And I know that might come off to some of you as a turnover, but I'm here just like you. Okay. So sometimes I vent out a little bit, I'm just being honest. I hope you can respect my honesty instead of me trying to, I don't want to be your idol. I'm here to be your teacher. Okay. But I really would like to know, not in a cocky, narcissistic way, I would really like to hear what a preacher has to say about all this. One that has like a pretty big following. Joel Osteen, T.D. Jakes, Steve Furtick. Would love to hear this. I would love to hear what they would say. The guy that went against Billy Carson. Oh, I don't even know his name. The guy that went against Billy Carson. When I watched that, I was sitting there like, man, I don't know what world he was in. He must have been on Mars rovers or something, or in Pluto somewhere, all the stuff he talks about, because he didn't have no answers. Anyway, I digress. Yeah, so this note, I don't know where I picked this up from. This is all about stuff I already mentioned. About Josiah and the Masons finding the Book of Moses. King Solomon, who built sanctuaries to all the gods and placed images in his temple. And he had a convent of the cult prostitutes in the precincts of the temple, and the stable of horses of the sun god, which was known later as Apollo, stood at the entrance, so that no matter what the primitive raw legion of the so-called Hebrews may have been, or what Moses may have taught, the Hebrews, having settled in Israel and Yahuda or Judah, and having become people not of the desert but of the soil now, had assumed the normal customs of that time and paid worship to the normal gods until the year of 621 BC. So they were worshiping many different gods until 621 BC. But they tell you they was the chosen people since 4000 BC from Adam and then Noah, and Noah was the only righteous man. He was the only pure man in his generation. It's insane. It's really insane, the indoctrination that was. But glory to the greatest of spirit and to the great mother for unveiling, making sure that her children receive the truth. She don't want your worship, okay? It's your mom. Does your mom want your worship? Do your mom want you to sacrifice something to her? Come on, man. It's your mom. Your mom. It don't matter if you're wrong. If you get a detention at school, ISS, your mom gonna go to that school and stand up for you against the principal, against everybody. She gonna stand up against the teachers, against everybody. But then when you get home, she might whoop that tail. But she's gonna stand up for you. All right. Now this gets a little bit deep too, huh? I'm gonna be quick with this. I'm gonna break it down. I'm gonna give you the fast version. I might do a full teaching on this. Okay. Let me try to condense this. When a singer hits a particular note in a certain musical key, the sound enters the ethers and will instantly shatter a glass. This was done back in the opera days and things like that. But each singer could not shatter the same glass, because each thickness of a glass or shape of a glass has a different frequency, just like all of us have a different resonant frequency. Okay. So there were two main singers, famous main singer, opera singers back in like the going back to the 1800s and into the 1950s, could shatter glasses and stuff. And in 1950 something, RCA went to Baltimore and tried to record this one lady, and she shattered all the RCA equipment off of the frequency that she sung out of her mouth. She broke all their microphones, all their equipment, everything off of frequency out of right here. Her throat chakra or seal was open. She was able to hit that frequency notes. All right, much like dolphins. So, so when a singer can shatter a glass, each glass possesses its own individual vibratory frequency, which will respond only to the exact corresponding musical sound or note. That is called resonation. That, my friend, is how you know the truth. You want to know the truth? How? Again, it's like 6 times I done mentioned. The young man that came from Arcade said, we're Aarons, we're from Arcade, we need proof. The proof is your resonance. If you have not tapped into your resonance, I'm not saying you can't be here, but sit back and learn. Sit back and learn, okay? Until you learn to embrace that. You've come across the eye for a reason. Sit back and learn. All right? There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not superior to you. I'm not above you. I'm not asking you for anything. Yes, I post Cash App and PayPal apps because I have 4 children and now I'm a widower. Okay. And unfortunately, I'm still backing my way out of this cyst stem. And I am doing it. And it's already done. The same way these people, I just got done explaining how they make gods. Well, I've already made my way out of this system. Now it's just to go through the actions. It's already done. I've already done it. I've seen it. I've done it. I've done it many times. Okay. But I'm just at the point, you all are witnessing the moment where I'm still here and backing my way. And it's not just for I. There's some of you here right now that are going to be at the place that I'm preparing, that I'm being used to prepare. Okay. So, I don't ask like, I need you to do this, that. I just put my PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, and Zelle and all that. And if it's placed on your heart from the Great Spirit, then that's resonance. That's how it works. Just like the glass shatter. Only the same frequency can do that. So for you to know that I'm speaking truth, you have to be, that means we're all vibrating at the same frequency. If there's a troll in here that is, trolling this and that, they're just on a whole nother frequency. In a distortion. They enjoy being a distortion, meaning that the parasitic overlay is overpowering their organic origin energy. Or they may not even be encompass the origin organic energy, the womb energy, where organic minds begin. Okay, you have to be conscious of that fact as well. So, this is also about the biblical account of Joshua or Yeshua, the first Messiah of the JEWs. How he crumbled the walls of Jericho. It was literal. It really was literal. It was not symbolic. Anyone who's ever been in the army knows when there's a group of soldiers marching in they call it in time, and ain't that's crazy? I just noticed that marching in time rhythmically. the highest NCO or the officer will, if we're coming up on a bridge, they'll halt you. They'll say, break step, break the rhythm, because the rhythm of everyone marching in time can literally make the bridge break. This is a fact. So the whoever's leading the cadence will tell them when they know it's a bridge up there, they'll have a scout, so they'll know. They'll tell the company to break step, and then they have someone check the bridge out and stuff, because that rhythm can literally make the bridge fall apart. This is the story of Yeshua or Joshua and the walls of Jericho. When I say left, right, and all that. So the armies led by Joshua, approached the walls of Jericho in step together, thousands of feet pounding at the same rhythm, okay, into the ground in unified tempo, okay, which produce a mighty and particular vibration in the earth, okay. This is one part of it. So when Yeshua, who was metaphysically knowledgeable because he was passed on the torch from Moses, who actually made the god Aten, who was turned into Yahweh. Okay, so this was all metaphysics. So Yeshua or Joshua knew this too. So the people marching didn't know it. They were just marching around like, what are we doing? They just thought they were soldiers ready to go to war in step, 7 times going around there. When Yeshua then blew a particular note on the shofar, on the ram's horn, the combination of marching feet and rhythm in the individual frequency, note, or tone that was going into the earth, and then the one coming out of the ram's horn into the ethers combined resonated with the wall of Jericho, and it crumbled it down. It's all metaphysics. And this is how they made the Great Pyramids and all of that. All those stones were levitated by sound. Many of you know that already. Many of you have never read it, didn't search it, and just know it. You know it. You know. I think there was a man that proved it. He had a whole little place where he had like made things, and people came there, and it looked like a junkyard, but he had like cars and stuff that he had put up like on flagpoles and stuff. They like, how did you get that up there? He ain't have no equipment, nothing. And he said sound. And I think they ended up taking him out too. Same way they did the dude with the water car, the guy with take the water out of the air. It's crazy. But so the same principle applies to certain rhythmic sound frequency chanted by the person that oversaw the making of the Great Pyramid. Some people say it was Tahuti or Thoth. You got some people saying it was Enoch or Enki, and then you got some people saying it was Osiris. Osiris himself oversaw it, and his twin flame or twin self, which was Isis. So Isis Isis exists in the name within Osiris. Okay, so they're twin flames. It's said in ancient mythology that them two together, because they were twin souls, they both let out the resonant frequency that was able to raise the blocks. And they're the ones. And there's also a way through magnetism that can harden that stone, that it can last millions of years, to the point where when people do the carbon dating, they'll tell you that the Great Pyramids is only 4,500 years old. Them Great Pyramids could have been sitting there for 1,000,000 years and you wouldn't know it. You just going off what some Greek person, a book from 1800 at best, maybe 1700, of some guy that heard from some guy that heard from some guy that heard from some guy. Sound like a Chinese dish, some young guy. Sound like something you order at the Chinese restaurant. Is how people are learning from a book. From some guy, from some guy, from some guy, from some guy. Passed on. Were they there, standing there? Can you remember? If you can remember and become a member again and you were there, then cool. There are people here that can do that, that were there. Guarantee there's one person in the chat right now that was there. Guarantee. More than one. It's the same as the natural magic of birdsong, and it's called the modern idophone. Ignored by the scientists, the boys with the microscopes, who still can't grasp and comprehend the forms of radiations produced in the ethers by the sound of the birds that literally triggers the growth of springtime. You know, yeah, we got the equinox and all that and the sun and all that, but it's much more than that. It's much more. It's a whole. It's every detail. It's all of it. It's the all. The birds literally send a resonant frequency into the ethers that hit the seeds, sprout them up, resurrect. So this is what I need you to know. And then we're wrapping up. Each what's called planet today, which is also a new word like Jesus and Lucifer. Wandering star is what they are. Or it's actually a sun. It's a wandering sun. Okay. That it's just a sun that the nature sign or signature is on a different wavelength than the sun. The sun is visible on the visible spectrum. The wandering suns are on different. You can only see a portion of their visible spectrum. You can't see the whole light coming down here. You can only see the reflection of it on the plasma. Okay. Because the plasma adds a form of solidity, reflection to it. Okay, adding a port, it slows down the light to the point where it makes it visible on the visible spectrum. Okay, or in some cases, it can speed it up so you can see it. So each planet and each luminary, meaning sun and moon, vibrates to a particular corresponding number. The number corresponds to a color, the color to a mineral and a metal, and to a flower, and a flower to a musical note or tone, and so forth. It's a chain reaction. That frequency resonates with a chain of things. And the controllers of this world got it all mapped out. Okay? And so do some of us. That's why I'm here. Get slowly unveiling these things to grasp. Okay? And as I said, I didn't just put up the chief the Iron Bush Mystery School to be cool or something like that. This is for real. This is a real school. Okay. And I've already seen that as well, that well, first I'm going to go do a tour. I'm going to travel and teach, do a tour probably for, I don't know, Ain't no telling, but probably if 6 months to a year, I don't know. We're gonna get a van and we're gonna go. I'm gonna teach in person. I'm going back to teaching in person. That's been placed on my heart. I've already seen that. And then eventually, I'm gonna have, like I said, off-grid community. Okay, but each planet, each and the sun and the moon vibrate to a number. The number to a color to a mineral and a metal, and to a flower, and to a musical note or tone, and so forth. So each luminary and planet possesses its own individual frequency pattern or nature sign or signature sine wave. Okay. So, like the diamond vibrates to Saturn. Okay. Or Capricorn. You probably been told it's the birthstone of April or something. That has nothing to do with resonance and truth. That's some old fun dummy Valentine's Day stuff. Okay. Saturn is directly correlated to the diamond, the hardest rock. Okay. The hardest one. Father Time. And the ruby vibrates to Aries and Mars, for instance. That's two examples. But so let's take Mars, for instance. Mars vibrates to the number 9. Okay, which vibrate. That's why Elon Musk is so fixated on Mars, because we're entering first of all, we're in the year of the 9, and we're entering the rebalancing of the scales of Ma'at, the rise of the feminine energy. So they're going to be fixated on 9 as well, and 9 is connected to Mars. That's the resonance. Okay, so that's the whole Mars thing. That's the hijack your frequency. Okay, because you don't know this, but now you do. So Mars vibrates to 9, which vibrates to the frequency of the color crimson red. That's why Elon's always wearing black or red, crimson red, every time you see him. That's why Mars is always written in crimson red and everything, all them little shirts and stuff. Which vibrates to iron. Okay, that's the metal, iron. Okay, which vibrates to the ruby, which vibrates to garlic and onion, which vibrates to the daisy, which vibrates to the day of the week, Tuesday, which vibrates to the month of April, which vibrates to the musical note or tone of C major. This goes for every single wandering star, the sun and the moon all have a list like this, and they all know it. And the JEWs learned it from the Chaldeans on that side of the bowl, and on this side there was many people that knew it. From what I've been told, the Hopewells were the ones that we learned cohesively with the Adenas, and passed it on to the Anasazis. They we didn't really pass it on to them. They kind of heard us, and they took it down to the Four Corners, took it to the Pueblos. The Pueblos gave it to the Hopis. And now it's called the Hopi prophecy of the Red Kachina, Blue Kachina, when it originated with the Hopewell tribe. Okay. That's the story. That's the true story of the Red Kachina, Blue Kachina, and all this information I'm telling you, and Serpent Mound, and the city under Serpent Mound that led to a bigger city called Cahokia that was in between the Mississippi River and the Missouri River. It was the biggest city in Turtle Island until Philadelphia in like the early 1900s. That's how big it was. And it went all the way down to the bottom of Louisiana, the network, and trade routes to Florida. okay, with the Gullahs. Basically, the those that the Moors that came over here and stayed here, the Gullahs. So with all that being said about Mars and the Nine and all that, and the garlic and onion and daisy and all that. So this is how it works. If we gathered 9, remember this is number 9. If we gathered 9, and this is how the controllers work, this is how the rituals work, the superb owl halftime show, the Grammys, all of these things, this is what they're really doing. You see these people online, like, I'm not even gonna name names. I don't want to name drop, but people online that call themselves truthers and gematria people and stuff, and they come out and they decode this stuff, and they're just decoding nonsense. This is what's really going on. If you gathered 9 Aries people who were each born on a Tuesday, April 9th, and placed them in a room on a Tuesday, April 9th, all wearing solid crimson red clothing, with the walls and ceilings painted crimson red color filters on the lights in the room, basically red light bulbs, had daisies, lots of daisies in the room, plenty of garlic and onions, with a large bowl of rubies, and everyone wearing some rubies, and with plenty of iron furniture in the room. Everyone was sitting on a chair made of iron, and got in a circle. All right. And then the note of C major be played on any musical instrument, a flute, a violin, let's say a violin, and sustained for 27 seconds, which is 9. Everyone in the room would instantly and simultaneously levitate right up to the ceiling. This is a fact. This is a fact. This is what is going on with the rituals and ceremony. Now, I'm not saying they're down there on the Super Bowl so they can float up to the ceiling. No. I'm giving you an example of how it works. How this stuff works, what we call what everyone else would call magic. Okay. The controllers have got this down to such a science that there's a thing called the Phoenix event every 138 years based on a bloodline or group of people that manifest it. And I can tell you what it is, and I can tell you how they do it. And I can tell you the main thing it revolves around is Venus. The main thing it revolves around is Venus. At night, the evening star. Okay? And more will be unveiled to you. I'm not going to do it in this teaching right here. But I've kind of dropped clues to some of you that I can tell you what the Phoenix event is, how it happens, how it operates, what it is, and how they do it. It's all been unveiled to me, and I didn't have to search. I didn't have to read no books or nothing. I just knocked because I'm in alignment, and I say that not boastfully. I promise you, I say that not boastfully. I'm just explaining to you. So that is just an example of how frequency works. So that's the same way how they made the pyramids. Okay. Certain alignments. The what we call the planets are like locks on a key. On one of them roll, the kind that you roll up and got to put the numbers in a row, and then you can unlock it. When they line up, that's a frequency. It's a frequency. It's a keyhole. Why do you think the keyhole symbol is everywhere? because it's all about the keyhole and aligning the energies. That's what that keyhole symbol is in Jew Peter's Square at Vatican City. It's everywhere. That's what it stands for. Aligning the frequencies of the vibration of the word, the Christos, the Christ, the Heru, the Chiro, the Chiros, the Chi, your energy. The Anunnaki came here to mine your gold, your AURA, your aura, to use your aura to manifest them. That's what it is. I could go further on that, but I told you guys I was about ready to wrap it up. Let me see. And just to add just a couple sprinkles on here. Where was I going? So the Great Mother, when the moon came here, immediately was identified. You know, a lot of people identify the moon with the Great Mother. Okay. So the moon, the meaning of the moon is still hidden in our language. In Greek and ancient and other tongues, in Aramaic, the word many, mene, many, means moon. In Latin, it's mensis, like menstrual, mensis. Now, where's my phone at? If you remember the verse in the Bible where, who was it? Daniel was sitting with King Belshazzar, and there's a hand that comes and writes on the wall the words many tekel. Hold on. Many, what was it? I thought I took a screenshot of this. Hold on. Okay. It said in the Bible, it says Daniel was sitting there, and then on the wall it said many tekel upharsin. It's an Aramaic phrase in the book of Daniel, and it's interpreted by Daniel as God's judgment on King Belshazzar. Meaning, and it says in the Bible, it means God has numbered your kingdom and brought it to an end, and you have been weighed and found wanting, and your kingdom is divided and given to the Medes and the Persians. It's not what it says. First of all, many means moon. They're talking about the lunar. They're talking about the lunar energy. Okay. Let me see. Where is it? Many tekel. Tekel is a monetary unit. Well, monetary, what does monetary mean? Moonetary. All money is moony or monetary or moonetary. So many tekel means moonetary, money. Okay. Tekel is also related to shekel, which was their coin at that time, a shekel, tekel. So moon, monetary, tekel, shekel. Okay. And then it says upharsin, which was the Aramaic word for Persians. Basically, the message was the moon, the alignment of the moon is saying that your wealth is moving to the Persians. Daniel was an astrologer, astrologer. That was the handwriting on the wall. Why was it on the wall? Because it was coming from above. It was the lights coming in from outside, shining on the wall. The moonlight, where the alignment was. Many tekel upharsin. The moon is divided right now in such a way that it is telling me the monetary flow is going to the Persians. And guess what Belshazzar means? Lord of the portal. So King Belshazzar might not even been a real person, because King Belshazzar, Bel means Lord. Bel and Baal both mean Lord. Shazar means portal or gate. So he was the Lord of the portal. So the moon and the moving of monetary value going to the Persians, and he was saying it to the Lord of the gate, Lord of the portal. Esoteric message right there for you. That's just one thing of the moon in the Bible. But I'm not going to get into, because I could have put this in the Great Mother series, but I'll just leave you with this, because actually there's a teaching I want to do that is going to blow your mind, and this would be a good segue into a good way to end this. The Torah begins with a verse containing 7 words and 28 letters. 7 times 4 equals 28, which is one cycle of a moon, one moon. So the first verse is one moon. The very first verse of the Torah is 7 words with 28 letters. Okay? 7 times 4 is 28. That's the moon cycle. It's all lunar. That's why I say you're born into sin. The moon was called sin. They're a lunar cult. That's how they started. Abraham was a lunar cult worshiper. To this day, Easter is a moving feast. It's based upon when the moon comes, the first moon after the equinox. It's still Ishtar. Ishtar go Babylon. You want to celebrate Easter? Take part in the Babylonian Easter, the blood of the babies and all that on the eggs when they would eat them for fertility. The women, they'd make the women eat these eggs dipped in baby's blood. The first moon after the equinox. It's all moon worship. And even before Easter goes back further than the Jewish holy days. Remember, they didn't even know until 621 BC. East Ishtar, and it was back 3000 BC. Here's another fact. Book of Revelation has 16 sevens. All right, got 7 churches, 7 spirits, 7 gold candlesticks, 7 stars, 7 angels, 7 lamps, 7 seals, 7 horns, 7 eyes, 7 trumpets, 7 thunders, 7 crowns, 7 plagues, 7 vials, 7 mountains, 7 kings. 7 times 16 is 112, which equals 4 moons. Okay, which 4 moons is excuse me, I just lost my train of thought. 7 cycles, right? 7 times 4, wait, 7 times 28, excuse me. So 7 cycles. Wait. I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought because somebody just came by here and was trying to talk. The book of Revelation altogether is basically connected to the moon. I forgot where I was going with that. I'll leave that for another teaching. And then the 1260, the 1,260 days where the Antichrist ruled the 3.5 years. Well, 1260 divided by 7 equals 180. That's the U-turn. Okay. 1260 divided by 28, which is the lunar cycle, equals 45, which is 1/8. All right. 4 plus 5 equals 9, and 1/8. 1 plus 8 equals 9. That's the feminine. That's completion. That's where we're at now, the U-turn, where there's going to be a graduation because the feminine energy is rising, making cohesive balance and harmony, which allows souls to graduate. And that's what it's all about. So that's what it is. So I hope this teaching has helped you in some way. My baby's here asleep, and I got numerous people trying to get my attention. So apologies, I lost my train of thought about that one thing. The 112 is important because it has to do with something else too. I totally had a brain. I don't want to say fart, but I guess, yeah, brain fart. Okay. But I love you guys. No, it was 16. Yeah, it's 16 sevens, which 16. Wait 1 second. I don't know. I have my notebook open. Yeah. In the book of Revelation, all the sevens, it's got 16 sevens listed in the whole book of Revelation. So 7 times 16 is 112. You divide that by 28, that's exactly 4 moons. Okay. So they're letting, and then they tell you 1/4 of the people, and 1/3 of the heavens gonna fall. Well, 1/3 of the heavens is four moons. In today's, when the book of Revelation was put in with the 12-month system instead of the 13 months. Okay. And I can even show you with the 13-month system, with the lunar system. See, that's how they hide it. They got us living on a solar calendar, and they're living on a lunar calendar. But the Old Testicle and the New Testicle, aka the Old Testament and the New Testament, is more lunar and solar. That's monosol instead of Solomon. It's monosol. That's the Old Testament and the New Testament. It's the moon to the sun, worship, right? But in the book of Revelation, it's both. But I just gave a few examples to show you how it's all encoded with lunar worship as well, because they know the moon is the reflection, and the moon is the delay, is the it's the medium for our manifestation, meaning it's the mechanism that delays our manifestation here in this density. That's what the moon does. That's why it has its cycles, its angles. Okay, different angles. And that's why they tell you, like, moon magic on full moons or new moons and stuff is when the women would do it. And not for nothing nefarious, but for like a good harvest and things like that. It had nothing to do with spilling of blood or nothing. That came from people that got hijacked by the patriarch. Anything with blood and all that got hijacked by the patriarch, or it was already some people that was whacked out. that wasn't in harmony with the organic original energy. This the most sacred energy, okay, of the womb. Like I always say, where organic minds begin and all is mind. That's how they're using us to manifest the book of Revelation. Do you know they try to get it to like happen every generation? Do you know the birth certificate was supposed to be the mark of the beast? Social Security, the barcodes on all the items was supposed to be the mark of the beast. You can't buy, sell, or trade without a barcode. Uh, you can't buy, sell, or trade without a birth certificate. Then Sunday worship, when they did that, they tried to make that some kind of way. They every generation they try to enact the chores of the script to get the masses to buy into it enough to say, this is the Antichrist, this is the false prophet, and this is the mark of the beast, and we're in the Great Tribulation. That's why there's always a war, there's always plagues, there's always something going on, because they want you to always think this the 7 years of the Great Tribulation. No, you manifest your life. You do it. Okay? And the more people you have with you, the greater you all are. That's why I said I'm not going off to some community with just me and my 4 children. You all are invited. The more, the merrier. Okay? It ain't about being some cult because we're not worshiping nothing. And we're not atheists. We're in tune and we're in harmony, and we're here to guide the souls that are going to still have to go through the purging of the Taurus, the soul's tour of the purge. Okay? That's what you're here for. You're an original soul, beloved. You would not be here receiving this if you weren't an original soul. All right? Unless, except for the original trolls. All right? Little jokey joke. I love y'all. As always, like I said earlier, I can't stand mentioning Mooney, but if it's placed on your heart, all the links are usually until the video posts. I'll when the video posts, I'll pin the comment with it all. I think it should be on there. It should be at the top of my page on my YouTube and my Facebook. So love you guys, and hopefully, the next teaching will be sooner than later. Okay, greatest of spirit willing. As always, Mësët.